My daughter uninvited me to her graduation and chose his absent father instead. Now, she's wailing because he ditched her again. I have a daughter, whom I'll call Belle. When she was younger, her father was very involved in her life, and she was admittedly a dad's girl, but this all changed when she turned 8 and he got married. He barely called and just abandoned her for his new family. Belle has not seen him since she was 12, and he speaks to her maybe 3 times a year, maximum. When he calls, she believes he is back in her life for good, and then he ghosts her for the remainder of the year. Belle and I have a great relationship and do everything together. She even refers to me as her best friend, so we have a good relationship. Her graduation was recently, and I was excited. But then she told me a week ago she would invite her dad and his son. And because her dad doesn't want to see me, I can't come. Belle told me that was the only way he was going to go. I angrily told her I felt betrayed and wouldn't forgive her for this. She just told me I have been there for many of her milestones, and she wants her father to experience some of them, too. Things got heated, and we argued. I pleaded with her the night before her graduation, but she ignored me when I spoke, and only said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my mind." I left and cried until my sister offered to take me out during graduation to take my mind off it, and I agreed. I woke up the next morning to my daughter bawling her eyes out. I looked at the time and realized the ceremony started in 5 minutes. I asked Belle why she hadn't left yet. Belle then told me her father ditched her and wasn't answering anymore. I hugged her and told her to make the most of her graduation. She looked shocked and asked if I was not attending the ceremony now that her father wasn't answering, and how it would be embarrassing to be the only one there without parents. I told them I was sorry and that I already had plans. She then screamed and called me a bad mom. I apologize once again, and get ready to meet my sister. I chose not to go because I felt betrayed and wanted to teach her that her actions have consequences, even if it broke me that I didn't go. Since Belle returned, she hasn't spoken a word to me, and she looks depressed and like she's been crying for ages. I'm starting to regret not going. Update: I apologize to my daughter for not attending her graduation. I also explained that being left out is not a nice feeling, and I feel underappreciated. Also, it is fine to want her father there for her, but I should, too. Belle told me she was sorry things ended this way, loved me, hugged me, and wanted things to return to normal, and that she acted like a beach. I told her, nevertheless, I should have been there, and if I could do this all over again, I would have gone. Then I asked her if she regretted not inviting me in the first place, and unsurprisingly, she said no. This hurt me, but I figured it was because I didn't go, so it was understandable. But no, she continued saying it was probably best I didn't go because she would have been more miserable as she would have preferred her dad to be there anyway. Then I got pissed. I told her my feelings were hurt, especially since I'd been there for her. She said she would always want her dad there for her big moments. I asked, even at the expense of knowing he most likely wouldn't show, and she replied, I mean if I have to make sacrifices, I'm going to have my dad there. I repeated the question as she seemed to be swerving it, but she just shrugged and went to her phone. I told her not to expect everyone to apologize and turn a blind eye when she doesn't value them in the real world. And I also said, knowing how she feels, I shouldn't expect another apology from me. This is the last time I'm doing this. Update 2. It took me ages after graduation, but I finally contacted Frank's aunt. I explained the situation and that I needed to contact him as he was either ignoring or not getting my messages. He ended up sending me a very long letter. In a small nutshell, it said that my daughter has been stalking and threatening him and his family and he's been trying to have a healthy relationship with her, but she keeps being aggressive, so he had to distance himself. He acknowledges he hasn't been the best father but has tried for the past few years. Belle is too aggressive, so he must prioritize his family's safety. As for the graduation, he wrote that he refused to go. He only said it was probably for the best, as I probably wouldn't feel too comfortable with him there. He said not to contact him again and that we've done enough damage. He added photocopies of messages between him and Belle, where she says deeply troubling things, like physical threats. I thought everything he said was BS and misconstrued. I spoke to Belle and told her of her father's accusations. She broke down in tears hysterically and admitted that she hadn't been the nicest to Frank's wife and child, but she never threatened and stalked them. I was trying to calm her down. I told her I believed her and suggested therapy. Then she turned on me, blaming me for the breakdown between her and her father's relationship. She swore at me and broke stuff. She told me to stop trying to villainize her father when I'm the problem. She called me a burden and cancer and said I should have stayed out of her business. I was called a bad mother and told I should burn in hell. To be clear, she was never violent towards me. She packed her stuff and left, presumably back to college. My family and I haven't heard from her since. I called and called but only got one message from a random number telling me to leave her alone. I told her I was always here when she was ready to talk. It's been 2+ months since I spoke to her. I'll never admit this to anyone, but I feel relieved. My self-esteem plummeted, and I felt dead for the longest time because of this situation.